Hello everybody, it is New Year's Eve 2024. We're about to move into the new year of 2025. So I thought I would do an end of year wrap up, and it actually took me a little while to prepare because it's been a very busy and packed year in a lot of different ways. So and most of you, I think, know me from YouTube, and I'll talk about that and what videos we released a little bit later on. But I want to talk about some kind of big life events and other things that happened this year before we do that. So I'll start by talking about some health things that took place. I had gallbladder surgery to have mine removed in March, and it was kind of interesting, and I did a video about this that you can watch that I'll probably link to below. You know, my surgeon had given me the impression that it was not really a big deal and I would just go in and they'd take care of it and then I'd be right as rain within a day or two. And it actually takes quite a bit more convalescence than that. I was teaching classes at the time. We had a lot of other things going on. And so it was, quite interesting to see. The other really big thing that happened this year was we moved for the first time in 9 years. We had lived in the Boston Lofts apartments in the downtown of Milwaukee in a neighborhood called Westtown, just west of the river and west of the major buildings in the downtown. So we moved out at the end of September, and we kind of split things. We moved to a smaller living space, which is actually on the Milwaukee River, and we moved here to a new office in the Global Water Center where I shoot my videos and do all my online meetings with clients and classes and do all the other kinds of things that I do unless I'm on a campus working. So yeah, that was a big deal. The move is, if you measure a move by boxes being completely unpacked and everything being out of storage, I think you can say we haven't quite finished with the move, but at least we're in two different places. I also volunteered along with my wife for the 2024 election at the Central Count in downtown Milwaukee. That entire day we were counting absentee and early voting ballots, and it was really quite an involved process. I also, another kind of cool but unrelated thing, I did the FINRA arbitrator training and certification and went through their vetting process, which is pretty serious stuff. So I am actually a FINRA arbitrator now. Still yet to do my first case, but it's kind of a cool thing to go through. I was invited to be one of the guest speakers at Wyoming Stoic Camp by my friend Rob Coulter. So I was out there in May up in the mountains, and that was interesting. I didn't get bad altitude sickness, but it definitely is a thing. We had one person who did get quite sick. And we talked about Stoicism. We had to drink water constantly. We took a nice hike up to, I want to say, like above 11,000 feet. And it was quite interesting. I presented on Stoicism and grief and helped out a lot. On other Stoicism-related things, I helped to organize, along with my friend Harold Kavli, the International Stoicon this year, which went quite well. It was focused on the theme of cosmopolitanism, so that's a cool thing. We had a series that we were doing partnering with the Women's Club of Wisconsin called Philosophy Eats, and we finished that up in April, and we haven't been doing any of those, but we may start that up sometime, partnering with a different organization down the line in another year. I started up a Substack site, and I've been doing a lot of writing, posting resources there, building a community. So that's kind of cool as well. And I did that in part because I needed a different place to write. Medium used to be my go-to place for writing, but they made you, it used to be they'd let you allow people to read 5 free articles a month. Now everything's either behind a paywall or not paid at all. So Substack works out a lot better. My oldest kid graduated college with a degree in theater, and I'm very happy to say that they're working in the field here in Milwaukee, and we get to see each other every so often. I helped them move twice. That's a sort of thing that dads do. Loaded up my Outback, made a lot of trips, moving around in different parts of Milwaukee. And my youngest kid is in her last semester in high school and applying to colleges and universities. So that's kind of cool as well. What else? So you probably have seen a lot of cat pictures. I should probably do a video about Almost Home, which is the cat rescue where I volunteer at. And I typically will do what are called open house shifts where you're meeting with the public and you're there to clean and feed and take care of the cats, but you're interacting a lot with the public. Or I do cleaning shifts where I go in and there's nobody else there, just me and the cats. And the people there are great. It's a nice community. Gone through a lot of important transformations. I think they adopted well over 250 cats just this year, maybe even more. It might be 300. So that's pretty impressive. I also took note of are they milestones? More like I've been doing this for this amount of time. So this is going to be, 2025 will be my 14th year producing content on YouTube. It will be my 13th year teaching online, my 26th year teaching college and university classes, 23rd year since I got my PhD, so been doing this kind of stuff for quite a while. I did a number of interesting presentations. We have our quarterly series partnering with the Frank Weinberg Library, Philosophers in the Midst of History, and I did presentations on Seneca, Peter Abelard, Immanuel Kant, and Iris Murdoch. I also presented with my wife, Andy Shaka, at the Global Disruption Summit. I was talking about care ethics, and then she was applying that to food shortages, deserts, problems, all those sorts of matters. With my friend Dan, I continued on doing the Wisdom for Life radio show on River West Radio, and we record those as both downloadable podcast. It actually streams live too on the day that it airs, and then videos as well. Did a lot of interviews and guest appearances, which is kind of cool as well. Classes, I taught 6 academic classes this year, 4 of them for Milwaukee Institute of Art and Design. One of them was a class that I hadn't taught before, which was kind of cool. Writing 300, which is a professional writing class. I really enjoyed that. I oriented it around projects that were actually going to help the students in their professional career. I taught, the rest of these were all things that I've taught for them before: Religions of the World, Existential Philosophy and Literature, and Le Guin's Earthsea, Philosophy and Fantasy. And then for Marquette University, I only taught 2 classes this last semester called Foundations in Philosophy, which is essentially their Intro to Philosophy class. That's pretty enjoyable. Both of those were in person on campus. Of my MyEd classes, I want to say that the only one of them was actually in person, but spent some time there. What else? I taught a number of classes in my Study with Sadler Academy. I've been rolling out open enrollment classes. So Ancient Philosophy on Friendship, which I'm starting up again in a slightly longer version this January. I taught last year. Aristotle on the Moral Virtues, a class I've taught several times before. People really enjoyed that. Stoicism and the Cardinal Virtues, taught as a 6-week class, which is going to be this coming year an 8-week class. I'm actually working on a book on that topic, by the way. A class on Descartes' Meditations, Objections and Replies. And then I also taught a class on Friedrich Nietzsche's Genealogy of Morals that was, very well attended by a number of people. And then we had the move, and so I stopped teaching those, but we're starting up this year with some really cool classes in January and February, so you can keep your eyes out for that. Before we talk about videos, I'm going to talk shortly about podcasts, or briefly rather. So I started with that Substack. I started a new podcast called Mind and Desire, and I've made quite a few episodes of that. First, I released them to paid Substack subscribers, then to the general public, and people seem to really enjoy those. And I did that in part because people wanted an original podcast where I'm talking about things that are helpful for studying philosophy. But the Sadler's Lectures podcast, I probably released 300 episodes this year. So here's the people that I did podcast work on. Ursula K. Le Guin, Alistair McIntyre, Plato, Jorge Luis Borges, Aristotle, John Cassian, Philip K. Dick, Immanuel Kant, Plutarch, Franz Kafka, Albert Camus, Nishitani, Frantz Fanon, Anselm, Cicero, David Hume, Seneca, H.P. Lovecraft, and John Wisdom. So lots and lots of podcast episodes. Let's talk about videos, since, this is in my YouTube channel, Year in Review. So some of them are kind of regularly scheduled events, Worlds of Speculative Fiction. We did a number of sessions for that, finishing up this last December with the Memory, Sorrow, and Thorn trilogy by Tad Williams. Understanding Anger 2.0, I've been doing those fairly regularly. Every month I did an AMA. Did a few story time with Sadler's. Wisdom for Life, of course, get released. And with Scott Terulli, I've been doing classic metal class, and that's a lot of fun. We also did a 150,000 subscribers party when we passed that milestone, and I probably should tell you about what this year has been like. So actually my views and watching is down by comparison to previous years. Like when we were in COVID, man, everyone was watching YouTube. But I still had some pretty good numbers for an academic philosophy and literature channel. So about 1.3 million views of my videos, including 166,000 hours watched, which when you do the math on that, it's about 19 years. So in this year, people watched my videos for 19 years worth of viewing time. It's kind of an interesting rate of return, isn't it? What else? Did a number of book reviews, a number of quick takes videos, few Twitter conversations where people, usually stepped in it and said something and then people responded. I did quite a few Ideas That Matter interviews, some Sadler's stories, some work videos on key thinkers, particular movements or times, some self-directed study videos, fake quotes videos. I even released some banjo cover songs, which I'll probably do some more of in this coming year. I got to put in the practice time to get good at it again. And then core concept and speculative fiction studies videos. What did I release content on? So here are the people who I did with that. And you're going to notice some overlap with the podcast stuff because I'll take those videos and convert them into podcast episodes later on. So we began the year with Immanuel Kant, then some Seneca, Franz Kafka, Plutarch, Frantz Fanon, Albert Camus, Nishitani, Cicero, H.P. Lovecraft, David Hume, Jorge Luis Borges, Karl Popper, John Wisdom, Max Shaler, and we finished up the year with some core concept videos on Aristotle. So a lot of stuff going on this year. Really happy in our new office space and our living space. I think I'll be quite a bit more productive this coming year. Got a lot of things planned coming up, but I'm not going to spend a lot of time telling you about it here because this is the year that is ending in review. And I'll say that, overall 2024 was a pretty good year, beginning with, Study with Sadler Academy classes, teaching, video production, then having that gallbladder surgery eventually. It was nice to get it finally taken out. It was about a 6-7 month, wait to actually get the surgery done. All sorts of other great stuff that happened in the meantime. You've seen all the pictures available in my social media. Did a lot of YouTube shorts of cats and kittens at Almost Home. I love going there. I'll probably be even more involved with them in the year ahead. And, so long as everybody's healthy and doing okay in my family, I'm happy with that. Another, I would say, pretty successful year behind us, and now a big year ahead, and we'll see what it holds. And I hope that it's been a great year for you, or if it's had challenges, that you've done okay with them. And even if you didn't, that's okay as well. We're all human. We all have the things that we have to work through. So you can tell me about how your year was if you want to. If you want to put down what your achievements are that you're happy with, or obstacles that you dealt with, I'm happy to read about that, and hope that I'll see you somewhere, either in person or virtually online in this year to come.